So it's been a day. It's been a fucking day, man. Um, Somebody went on vacation, and like, I think they thought that their ship was covered, and then didn't turn out to be covered. So like, half an hour went by after I was supposed to be off, and I was like, nobody's here yet, and I just stayed. I just stayed and did a double, and that meant not working out. So I have to do my Saturday workout tomorrow. But it was like right when I was about to leave, I met this guy. And he turned out to be a content creator. I didn't get a chance to look at his stuff yet because he's an Instagrammer, so I'm probably not going to look at it. But he does like skydiving, and he's like very in tune with nature. And he's got all these cool videos of like crazy animals and stuff like that. And he wanted to like use the gym, and he didn't like have the right kind of membership. And I ended up like, I don't know why I did it. I ended up letting him use a guest pass. I think it was because this is like the level of comfort I felt. He was like, dude, I'm gonna be so pissed off if I got like dressed up and got all the way out here and I don't even get to play basketball. And he was just wearing like normal Under Armour, except for like he had this like purple vest. And I was like, I mean, you look good. And I don't compliment people like that. I don't tell random he's not strange, but I don't tell random strangers that are men who are attractive that they look good today. You know what I mean? Especially if it's my first time talking to them. So I was like, well, you look good. And I basically told him to take a hike because like he didn't have the right kind of membership. And so he left and came back and decided he was just gonna like pay the fee. And I ended up like letting him use my last guest pass. So he used a guest pass, and like he was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much," blah 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 blah. And at some point he asked, like, if there was any good hoopers up there. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know who's good and who isn't. But I went up there on a walk later, like probably about an hour after I was supposed to be gone. And he was just up there like shooting by himself. There was like a little 12-year-old on this side and then him on that side, and that was it. And I'm like, you didn't even get to have fun, man. And we ended up talking for a little bit. And like, I sort of got the chemistry was there. But then towards the end of the conversation, he's like telling me a story about this deer and how it like walked right up to him, and he was able to like pet it, and it was just like a wild moment. And then he's like, I asked to see a video because, you know, he had his Instagram up from showing me skydiving videos. We were talking about conquering fears, and he kind of conquered fears of spiders the way that I conquered my fear of snakes, like immersion therapy, you know what I mean? He also runs at his fears and tries to conquer them. Very bold personality. But he ended up being like, oh, I can't find it. I don't know what my ex-girlfriend did with the video. And I'm like, ugh. And once a fucking again, just because they have a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend or a wife or, you know, anything, it doesn't mean anything. If I had a nickel for every straight guy that wasn't entirely straight, I'd be a rich man. You know what I mean? Six of Cups energy there. That's funny. Six of Cups energy. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like it wasn't an option, but that falls directly in the pattern. So I don't know. He ended up leaving, and you know, like we fist bumped like 30 times and like shook hands, and like I kept on like being like, okay, well, I'll see you later, bye. And then like we'd keep on talking, you know, like those situations where you're never really done. And he ended up saying like, well, I think I'm gonna have to join this gym again, you know, because I guess he had a membership back in the day. But he's kind of doing what I'm doing, where he stopped the corporate career path in order to pivot and live in a more fulfilled way. And I just see so much mirroring of the story. And maybe it's supposed to be a platonic connection. Like, I'm making a bunch of platonic connections out of these guys that I thought were romantic initially. because maybe it's the spirit's way of telling me to be on the lookout for that person. Maybe I have to think it's romantic in order for me to conceive that we could be friends. I don't know. Maybe they're just moving them into my life in the most expedited way possible, because there is no faster way for me to want to get to know somebody than to think that they're a romantic interest. And then I learned some stuff, and then, like, we're friends-ish. And it's just gonna kind of progress from there. But he might join. He might join the gym. And I feel like that would be really cool. But I keep on thinking, like, it's a damn shame. Yeah, I really liked him. And we're not supposed to be taking anybody off the table immediately just because of how it looks on paper, right? And he's younger than me too. Like they all are mostly. There's some older. But I'm not as, like, confident that those are a thing. But he's probably, like, 9 years younger than me. So it's, again, not perfect. I can't seem to find anybody my age, though. It's like they don't exist or something. But, it was a really good connection. But I could be friends. I could go skydiving with him. He reserves that for, like, people that he's really comfortable with. But, maybe that could be a thing. I need a skydiving buddy. That's on my list for this summer. It was on my list for the last 2 summers. But I never seemed to find time. I was conquering other fears, like driving and going to restaurants. Things that feel a lot less intense now. But I wouldn't have had that conversation if I didn't have to cover the shift. And I think it was a holiday pay, so, extra money. I'm not going to complain. I'll just work out twice as hard tomorrow. And honestly, I could probably use a rest day anyway. Even though I was still on my feet for the whole thing, it was fine. I am about to drop, though, because I didn't sleep last night. So I'm sure as soon as my head touches that pillow, I'm going to be done for. Which is, I guess, why I'm talking about this now. I didn't even have the energy to put pants on. See? That's underwear. The social web is expanding dramatically and quickly. And the people... I guess that's the other thing, isn't it? He had such a good concept of what's meant for you will find you. And he even mentioned towards the end, he was like, well, after I said, like, well, I don't really have to worry about finding the right people find me. They're magnetized in through circumstance, through whatever situations. And he was like, well, it's kind of what happened here. You used a guest pass on me, and now I'm here, and now we're talking, and we have all these things in common. And I'm like, yeah. If he ends up joining the gym and being a friend, like, that'd be cool. Something more, maybe. I mean, at the very least, I think he's single. Even if he's not entirely on that persuasion, I don't think he actively has a girlfriend. He just has an ex-girlfriend. Maybe this is why we were supposed to not necessarily rule anything out, because if you're on the fence, you're on the market. Or if you're on the market, you're on the fence. But you can't be on the fence if you're not on the market. You're clearly in developed territory at that point. That's how I always looked at it. Anyway, when I was younger, once you're in a relationship, you're on a side, at least until it's over. And we're not doing that whole disloyalty thing ever again.